This is a story of loss, my personal loss of a dear friend. And let's start from the beginning. In 1955, my family moved from northern Indiana to southern Indiana to support my father's opening of a new music store in Evansville. I was just starting third grade at Stanley Hall Elementary School, a diverse public school with wonderful baseball fields for recess. That's where I met Richard and two other buddies, John and Don. The four of us became best friends through grade school and into high school. My recollections of Richard and his family are as vivid as yesterday. And I know it was a long time ago, but it doesn't feel like it. Basketball was a big part of our lives. We played on driveways wherever our fathers put up a hoop. Rain, sleet, snow, day or night, it didn't matter. Don told me that his memory of Rich was playing basketball after school and most weekends, adding that he always beat me. And Don also added, riding go-karts were really fun in Rich's driveway. Richard's mother, Barbara, often had the boys over for sleepovers when we were in early elementary school. Our families were linked closely. Richard and I were on the same Little League team. He taught me to throw a curveball in his driveway. And he told me it would be the fifth best curveball in the league. If only I was a pitcher. And a big thanks to Richard's father, Bill, who helped organize the team and get me out on the field. Richard and I both had paper routes. Mine was in the evening. His was in the morning. I frequently went with Richard on his morning route. It was so fun slinging papers when no one was awake. John has a vivid memory of Richard deputizing him to take over his paper route when his allergies got too bad. John also reflected that I joined him a few times when he took over. We four were a great team. As high school wrapped up, we drifted apart, the way friends oftentimes do. Richard became a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. His job was evacuating and saving the lives of our wounded soldiers. He did that. After Vietnam, Richard went to college and became a park ranger. I went into wildlife management at waterfowl refuges in the West. We laughed about that later in life. Two kids from the same driveway basketball court, both ending up in the wild. Richard and I stayed connected throughout our adult lives. He had two beautiful daughters, Lindsay and Leah. A couple of years ago, Richard started calling me randomly. He was in the early stages of dementia, living with Lindsay and her family in Colorado. We had long conversations about the past, Stanley Hall, paperboy roots, basketball, our dogs, getting into trouble as kids. About 6 months later, Lindsay invited me to a celebration of life for Richard, while he was still able to appreciate it. Of course I went. I flew from San Diego to Denver and stayed in an Airbnb nearby Richard's house with some of his old friends. It was amazing and extremely gratifying to see him, to get to know his family and extended family, to sit with people who loved him. A few months after the gathering, Richard moved into a VA memory care facility. A hard transition for his whole family. Then one day, Lindsay and her husband, Sean, contacted me. Richard was coming home. A few days later, he passed, with Lindsay holding his hands. Part of my treasured childhood seemed to pass also. Goodbye, my friend. Thank you for our friendship.